So we just discussed that arranger timeline area. For a lot of people, this will be the area where they spend the most of their time. And to the left of that is the track area. This is where your tracks live. This is where you create them. Well, this is where you can create them. Audio tracks. And like I showed you earlier, you can create instrument tracks. And there's another track type called hybrid tracks. We're going to see more about that later. Every track type has its own icon, like I told you before. And let's talk about these headers a bit. The big red button is, of course, the record arm button, a solo button and a mute button. And there's an actual volume fader right in the track header, which is very handy. So with this, I've got more than one place where I can adjust the volume of each track. There's the mixer, and there's actually another view of the mixer, which looks like this. But we'll talk about all this later. But for now, it's good to know that you can change the volume of each track in the track header, and you'll see it move in the mixer also when I do this. And there's even a third fader in the inspector. But again, all three of these faders are just one and the same. There's a little level meter all the way to the right of the track header that'll show some movement if there's any signal on the track. And below that is a show automation toggle. If I click that, it will show me all the automation that is happening in the lanes on this track. Could be a lot more than this. This is now just the volume for the fader. But you know, sometimes automation can get really complicated. And this is where you show and hide it. Here's how you adjust the height of the automation lanes. But if you don't want a cluttered image, you just hide it like that. Now, I discussed instrument and audio tracks a moment ago, but actually in Bitwig you don't really need to distinguish between these two track types. Well, you do in a way, of course, because on instrument tracks you put instruments, like the Bitwig instruments or your VST instruments. And if you want to record audio, you do that on an audio track, or you just drop audio clips right on there, right? Well, yeah, that is true, but the people at Bitwig must have thought, why don't we make tracks that are able to take over each other's jobs when they need to? And that is when hybrid tracks were born. You cannot create a hybrid track, not from the create menu or from the contextual create menu in the track area. See, it's just not there. Hybrid tracks will be created when Bitwig Studio needs to. Like, for instance, if I bounce down the audio coming from an instrument to an audio clip, that audio clip will be able to be played on the same instrument track. Am I making any sense? Because sometimes I know I do not. It'll be all a lot clearer when we actually get to do it at a later stage. So that is the track area with the track headers. Of course, there's also effect tracks, like I mentioned, and the master track. And these are all represented in the mixer. So those are the tracks. Let's go to the next video and discuss the arrange view toggles.